The Voigtlander 50mm APO Lanthar 3.5 is an interesting lens. It's this one's going to be a slow burner for some people out there, because when you think APO Lanthar, you're thinking f2, right? Respectively so. I mean, that's a fantastic lens that Voigtlander makes, 35 and 50 respectively. And this lens is going to be much more, it's going to come in at a much more budget-friendly price, which is great. But it is a 3.5 in terms of aperture, which is a little bit interesting. Why 3.5? And I shot around with it with the M11D, which you've probably already seen some of those images if you watched that other video. If you didn't, you'll see those images here. I was hosting or co-hosting the launch of the Porsche Taycan here in Singapore, and they had a variety of different cars behind the scenes, and I was actually taking the M11D with this lens and the 50 APO from Leica, respectively, and I was just kind of, shooting around with it and seeing how the lens performed. And I have to say, the lens performs very, very well. It does. For what it is, it performs very well. But I don't know how many people will pick this one up unless they want a 50mm lens, they don't have the budget for the f2, and they're like, okay, I still want a really well-corrected lens that's sharp, easier to focus for rangefinder cameras, because at 3.5 it is easier to focus than in an f2, respectively, because obviously you want to, depth of field and everything else comes into play. But I don't know. But the designs are interesting, and I have to say, you have to see this lens in person to appreciate both designs. There's a Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 looks like a collapsible lens, but it's not a collapsible lens. So I foresee somebody trying to twist and push that lens down, and it may, I don't want to say someone's going to break it, but I was at the store when people were trying it, and they're like, I was a Riceball Photography here in Singapore who sells Voigtlander, and they're like, no, this is not a collapsible lens. It just looks like one, which is odd. You think they just make it collapsible, but they didn't do that. And it comes in two versions for the Type 1, a kind of a brass aluminum, which is a silver and black look, which looks quite sexy, quite vintage. And then there's this all matte black with white lettering look, which is an aluminum version that comes around 145 grams. So it's lighter. I think the brass and aluminum is around 245, 250 grams thereabouts. There's a difference in weight. But I will tell you this, if you see them in person, you may want to go for the aluminum matte black version, especially if you have an M11D in black or an M11P in black, or even an M11 for that matter in black, because it matches the texture of the camera, even the monochrome. Now, the monochrome's got a slightly different texture, but it has that matte black finish. So when you put the white lettering on it, there's no red on the lens whatsoever. It looks very stealthy. It looks very cool. As a matter of fact, that might be the sleeper hit out of all the lenses. Now, with the Type 2s, the one I tried, it looks a little more like a conventional, scalloped focus ring lens that we saw from Voigtlander and Leica, respectively. But it has a very long focus throw to go to close focusing, because both of these lenses do relatively well close focusing. Type 1 is at 0.45 meters, and Type 2 is the one I tried at 0.35 meters. But you really got to turn that lens almost like a macro lens to get to 0.35 meters. And you're going to see the extension of the barrel that you have there. Now, the one I tried is brass and aluminum, which again comes heavier, around 250 grams thereabouts, and there's an all aluminum version that's black. And it's a very sexy looking lens. It looks beautiful on the camera. I'm going to show you on M cameras as well as the SL3. It looks fantastic, right? Beautiful looking lens. But yeah, if you want to get close focusing, you're going to have to really turn that focusing ring a bit. It's interesting. But I have to say, using the lens, I found it to be very easy to use. Again, as I mentioned earlier in this video, at 3.5, it's a lot easier to focus than at f2, respectfully. So you can nail focus quite rapidly with this lens, especially on an M camera. And if you're going to be using a film camera, you may opt for this over the f2, because with Leica film cameras, the max shutter speed is 1000. So that means you're always stopping down on your lens, especially if you're shooting outdoors. Unless you've got like 100, 200 speed film, and you know that you're going to be, you got that all kind of set up, you know you can shoot wide open. Otherwise, you're going to stop down. And if you're going to be stopping down, you can save some money and get something like this and still get a nice depth of field, really well-corrected lens. It's going to look beautiful on film. I didn't try it on film, but you already can tell how the lens renders. It's going to look fantastic on film. And then if you're going to go digital, you're still going to get some really nice depth of field. And obviously with the ISO performance out of the M cameras, the new M cameras, respectfully, I mean, there's no issues at all. And I was kind of in lower light situations, as you're seeing from some of these images that I shot. No issues at all. I mean, everything looks beautiful, very well corrected, sharp, great color rendition out of this. Again, pairs beautifully with the M sensor, the M11 sensor. So yeah, man, it's kind of a no-brainer, to be honest with you. And you're getting, I mean, and the bokeh's got a nice fall off to it. It's got a nice little 3D pop to the image. I mean, I was happy with it overall. I just have to say that I don't know how many people will pick this up, but if they are on a budget and they want a good 50mm lens that is going to give you sharp images, this might be a really good lens to have in the kit. You never know. You never know. Now, which one would I go for, type 1 or type 2? Well, I love the matte black aluminum type 1, but I find myself, I mean, it's kind of weird to have a design that looks like a collapsible lens, but it's not collapsible. Kind of just doesn't work for me. So I would go type 2, but yeah, man, that black is just beautiful on it. It really is. You have to see it in person. But anyway, it's kind of a short video, guys. Just want to highlight the lens itself in terms of the performance. You're seeing kind of proof of performance through this video and just the usability of it. I mean, everything from a Voigtlander lens. And by the way, there's a hood that comes with it. So it's a very small hood. It doesn't get in the way. Nice that it comes in the box. You don't have to buy it separately, because sometimes with Voigtlander lenses, you have to buy the hood separately. This one comes in the box, so that's good to see. And yeah, man, I like the lens. I just don't know how many people will actually pick this one up over the f2. But again, if you're on a budget, this may be a very viable option for you. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section below. Big thanks to Riceball Photography, who were kind enough to loan me the lens for review. These are my thoughts and my thoughts only. With that, guys, like, subscribe, share the video. Helps me out a lot. Thank you for the support, and I'll chat to you all very, very soon. Take care.